This is KUGAN CASSIUS for Rifle TV in association with MTK Global. We're at Trinity House press conference, two press conferences today. One to announce the signing of Joshua BUATSI and the rest for the Summertime Ball. Why did you call it the Summertime Ball?
Summertime Brawl.
Brawl?
Yeah.
I've called it the Summertime Ball. In every interview I've gone, what a terrible name, the Summertime Ball.
Well, obviously the Summertime Brawl. Because you have the Summertime Ball. Mate, as if I'm going to call this show the Summertime Ball. What do you think, they're all going to turn up in their plimsolls?
Yeah, but no one's corrected me all day. I've gone, what a terrible name, the Summertime Ball. No one's corrected me.
You better put this one out first.
What?
Oh.
Oh no.
Summertime Ball.
Sorry. Let's talk about Joshua BUATSI. He's been a bit of a closed book over the last few months, not really revealing what he's doing, but you've done your thing of telling him, go and speak to everyone.
Yeah.
You end up coming back to me, that was what he said. And he did.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of mirrors, a lot of it reminds me of the Anthony Joshua situation when he turned pro. Actually, we're in the same room as we had the Anthony Joshua press conference. And again, he was the one that I watched in the Olympics, not just from Great Britain, but from the Olympics as a whole, and thought, you're the one. You're the one we need. And I remember sitting in my old man's lounge watching him, I think his last 16 fight, and my dad said, you have to get this kid. He's a special fighter, he can really fight, make a great pro. And we've been trying for a long time. Same kind of thing as Josh. He's a deep thinker. He wants to make sure that he's comfortable with his decision. He's taken the time to educate himself on broadcasters, on promotional companies, on the offers, and again, came back to us, and I really feel like we've got the man, and it closes our book on the 2016 Olympians. I feel like we've got an exceptional team of fighters, and I'm honoured to be representing BUATSI because I really feel like he's a future world champion.
Did you think that Mayweather may have been sniffing around, especially after the comments?
Everybody's sniffing around. I can't believe how many people have sniffed around BUATSI who have no position in the UK marketplace. Names that are coming up that have, he's told me that have approached him, which is, I said to him, you should be really chuffed and honoured that those people are approaching you, because they see what I see, which is an exceptional talent, and I think you're going to really enjoy watching him as a pro.
He'll make his debut July 1st at a light heavyweight as well.
Summertime Ball, yeah.
At the Summertime Brawl. So yeah, journey starts then.
It does. 8 fights in year one, and I think you'll see him move at a decent pace.
He's going to have 8 fights this year?
Year one. Not obviously in a year, not in 6 months.
Yeah.
But we're looking to box him on virtually all our shows, also abroad as well, potentially on the Burns and Ndongo Crawford card as well. So I think you're going to see him move at a decent pace. 6 rounds in his first fight. Already sparred a lot of the guys, obviously Buglioni, George Groves. I think he's someone that's going to slice through the division at a decent pace. Of course, the first 3 or 4, get his foot in the door and learn about life as a professional, but you're going to love watching him. And you're going to see his career unfold all on Sky Sports Boxing.
Let's talk about the card.
And he's also signed with AJ Boxing for his commercial stuff. Freddie Cunningham, Anthony Joshua, also leading his brand, which I think is great for him.
I saw them around here today. I thought that must have been the case.
AJ will be at July 1st. Might bring him in as a co-promoter. A bit like Floyd kind of thing. Bring him to the presses.
Summertime Brawl. This was obviously, originally you had a show which should have been last weekend, headlined by Dylan White with a lot of the similar fighters that are going to be on July 1st. So that didn't happen. You obviously had a plan for July 1st for Smith and DeGALE. That didn't happen. So you obviously had a lot of fighters that needed to be out before the season break, if you like. So hence Summertime Brawl.
Yeah, this is more or less the same card than the Dylan White fight, obviously with the addition of BUATSI and with some of the other young fighters stepping up into title fights. So it's one that we wouldn't generally have taken to the O2, but obviously we had it booked, and I love the arena. I think it's a great venue and great arena for those guys to plight their trade on. So we remained at the O2, and we go ahead with July the 1st. So it's really, I think, British boxing's in an interesting position right now where a lot of the names, if you like, are approaching, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but the final phases of their career. Do you know what I mean? 4 or 5 fights left. You know, you might be looking at, well, of course, Bellew, Brook, Crawler. You know, these guys, they're in the big championship fights and probably looking at themselves and saying 3, 4, 5 fights left. And now you've got the younger crop coming through, which is really what this show's all about. I mean, Frank Buglioni sits there, we were joking, he's kind of like the elder statesman of this card, you know, and I think you're going to find an interesting period over the next 12 months, and we've got a lot of plans and strategies in place for the new season, which is September, where we're going to change a lot of things, from the shows, from the international content, from the development of young fighters, and probably to make quite a lot of in-house fights as well, and really to push the fighters that have had the development into taking the real fights and the proper fights.
I've seen some people argue that this could be considered a next-gen show.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you've got, in my eyes, probably the most exciting Olympian turning pro on here. You've got a British light heavyweight title fight, which is a good fight. You've got British title eliminators. I don't agree with that, but I do agree that it's a card made up of some of the best young talent in the country. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the greatest show we've ever done. It's a really good show, and I think you'll enjoy it. But I think that also it's a very, very tough time at the moment to sell shows. I mean, when you look at July, you've got July the 1st, our show at the O2. You've got Billy Joe on July the 8th. You've got Eubank on July the 15th. And you've got also an environment where I don't feel like people are going to be actively looking to go to arenas in London, to be quite honest with you, at the moment. So I think it's a very tough time for event promoters, not just in boxing, but in sport and in music. So I think there's going to be a lot of competition moving forward in the new season, because we have a saturated state in British boxing right now. The fight fans won't see it, and actually saturated states is good news for fight fans because they get a lot of content. But you have too many shows happening and too many opportunities for fight fans to go to. Does that make sense? i.e., if there was one show in July in London, fantastic for a promoter, but there's not. There's only a certain amount of people that want to go to boxing in July, and they have a choice of 3 shows. So I think, like I said, there's a saturated state, and being in America last week, people look at the British market and say, oh wow, yeah, it's on fire, what a great opportunity. Correct in some ways, but in other ways, promoters are doing their bollocks on some shows, as are we, and then the bigger shows, obviously, they're making money. But I really think that it's an interesting time moving forward for September, and I think everybody has to strategise on what they're doing, rather than just a free-for-all where no one really has a strategy, and we want to make sure we're the ones with that strategy in place. I feel like we've built an incredible young team of fighters, the cream of the crop from the 2016 Olympics, that we're going to develop over the next 12 or 18 months. We need to produce stronger Saturday night fight nights in the new season. We've said it all before. We're going to be purchasing more international content from Sky as well. And also making sure that we progress the careers of the young fighters, the middle level fighters, and of course the top elite headliners as well.
Excuse me. So July 1st will be your last show. You will return
in the UK, yeah.
In the UK, obviously. You will return
September.
So you'll do nothing in August.
Not for UK shows, no.
No. But our fighters may be featuring on.
They will,
cards.
yeah. I mean, we're looking at Katie Taylor potentially on the Mikey Garcia and Broner card, and also Dillian White. We're looking to box him in the States. Hopefully, I can tie up and Ndongo against Crawford this week. Be the first 4-belt undisputed fight for 16 years. Outside of Bernard Hopkins, I think he was the last undisputed champ. And we'll have slots on that as well. So, looking to take Dillian White over there, establish him.
Where is that fight going to be, do you know?
In Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Omaha way.
Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, Dylan said he's really up for Nebraska. So,
that's where obviously
Terence is from.
Terence is from. Where is the other fight going to be?
It looks like the Barclays Centre, but I think they're still securing the venue.
Options are maybe Vegas or New York?
Yeah, Vegas, New York.
Okay. And you're looking to put Dylan on what card?
Either.
Okay. Right, just a few updates really. He was in America for a week. Taylor and Davies had their press conference. Thought Frank Smith done a very
it's funny.
good standing job for you. Yeah, that's on the same day as the Billy Joe fight.
I know, and this is another problem. This is when I talk about saturation. Like, Channel 5's numbers are going to murder BT on that night. So we have to be smart and actually decide who's going when. Sometimes venues are venues. You know, you can't get one venue on a certain day. So there's going to be clashes, but it doesn't really make sense to have two shows on one night with any broadcast. It's not just us and BT. It's Channel 5, it's ITV, etc., etc. So I'm open to having those conversations with other promoters to decide who goes when. A lot of the time it's unavoidable. I don't think anyone wants to go up against anyone. But that's when you look at the audience of Channel 5 compared to the audience of BT, it's a bit of a poor situation for all. And it definitely, I believe, definitely wasn't done on purpose by BT and Channel 5. It's just how it played out. But Davis against Taylor, I'm really looking forward to. I know people felt like I told O'Hara not to sell the fight, but what you saw in the press conference was the real O'Hara Davis. He sold the fight to get a wonderful payday for himself and a great opportunity, and now he can just be himself, and that's what you saw in Glasgow. You know, OD, he's not that guy that you see.
No, he's not, but his boxing media profile is that, you're earning £7 an hour.
Yeah, but I think there's no problem in being himself or him being this alter ego character if he wants to be. The truth is, he can be whoever he wants to be. O'Hara's not the type of person that's going to be told what to do. He comes in the office, he can get advice from me. He's very close with Tony and Charlie. He knows what he's doing. Much cleverer than you think, O'Hara Davis. And actually, although I can't tell you that the orders come from me, what he did was he infuriated the McGuigans and he infuriated Josh Taylor by just being nice. They couldn't believe it. They had the raving ump, which is what you want to do, isn't it? You want to leave a press conference feeling like you got the upper hand. And I think he definitely did that. Not that it really matters, but it's nice to go into camp knowing that the other team's lost their rag and you're cool as a cucumber. It's a really good fight.
How's Kell Brook?
It's all right. He's going to go in for an operation next week to get the left eye corrected as he did with the right eye. A kick in the nuts, really, after, obviously, you worry in the fight about the eye that's been operated on and the other eye goes. So, but that being said, the surgeon who's so pleased with the right eye says he will never have a problem with that. Get this left one done and we'll be in the same position. I feel like he has to move up to £154. I wanted him to move to £154 after Golovkin, but you have to take your hat off to him. He didn't want to swerve Errol Spence, and he didn't want to be accused of swerving Errol Spence. So he made that decision. And, it wasn't like he made the weight badly for Kell Brook, if that makes sense. He didn't make the weight well because he can't make the weight well. But in terms of his previous fights, he made the weight, as good as he's made it. But I don't believe that he can fight with the same intensity over 12 rounds that he could at £154. But you also have to give a lot of credit to Errol Spence, because people talk about the weight and the injury. The majority of this was down to the fact that Errol Spence was excellent, and he is an excellent fighter. And Kell got beaten by the better man on the night.
A lot of comments, obviously, after, not last Saturday, the Saturday before. Tony Bellew made some comments regarding Kell Brook, and all in respect to, did Kell Brook quit? What do you say to that?
it's, you know, Kell Brook, I have to say I was quite disappointed by some of the scorecards. I think one had Spence 5 rounds up, one had him 3 rounds up, probably had him 1 round up, about to go heavily up after the 11th round. But Kell was not going to win the fight from there. So when you can't see and you've got double vision and you know that that injury can also take your sight away for life, do you go out there, try and make it worse, or go out there on your shield and get knocked out, or do you know enough's enough, I'm not going to win this fight, I can't see, congratulations, you beat me. I know Kell Brook. One thing he's not, he's a quitter. If he was, he wouldn't have taken the Errol Spence fight. He would have just moved up, taken an easier fight for a lot of money. So I know what it meant to him to win that fight. And actually, right now, he is at a very low point because he's devastated that he lost his title. And I feel like he's even more devastated that people would suggest that, you know, he's a quitter, because he definitely ain't a quitter. He's a tough kid, and that meant a lot to him. But he knew he was beaten, and you know he made that decision. And it, you know, who knows what he could have done? Could have saved his career. That decision. If he would have made it back to the end of the round, I would have 100% been screaming for them to pull him out of the fight. So once you get to a stage where you can't win, and I feel like sometimes corners let fights go on for too long when you can't win. Do you understand what I mean by that? And we've seen people get injured in the past where corners have let fights go on where enough's enough. Can you win this fight from here? No. Done. Out. Why carry on and take punishment, unnecessary punishment? It's all very well people saying, oh, he's this, he's that. This is a tough sport. These people are tough bastards. There's no quitting them. You know, quit is not something, if you're a quitter, you don't become a fighter. And you certainly don't get to that level, you know? So I'm a bit disappointed by some of the comments. Are there other fighters that would have carried on? Yes. Would they have made the right decision? Probably not. But, you know, sometimes you know when enough's enough. And when you can't see and you've got double vision, trust me, it ain't a good idea to stay in there. Not against someone like Errol Spence as well. And there was no way back for Kell Brook in the fight. And he was behind on all the judges. If it was like all square, or Brook was up by 1, I would have been screaming at him to get up. If it looked like Errol Spence was in trouble and Kell might stop him, I would be screaming for him to get up. You know when he took a knee, you know what I was thinking? Stay down, son. That's what I was thinking. Because there didn't look like a way back in the fight. So I'm pleased he did. Hopefully he can get the eye repaired just like the right eye, come back at 154, whether there's a calm fight or whether it's another world title fight, you know, we'll see. But very disappointed. Disappointed for Kell. You know, and having spoken to him since, like I said, he's in a low place. You know, he's really, really disappointed that he lost his title. The Golovkin fight was always, you know, he knew the title was on the line, wasn't on the line. We felt we could win the fight. If we didn't, we felt it'd be a great fight, a lot of money, great profile. It did all those things, but the belt's the belt, you know? And it was all on the line in the Errol Spence fight, and he lost. And although he's disappointed with the Golovkin defeat, he got a lot of props out of the fight. But this one has really hurt him because he lost his belt, and that was the whole reason he was in the fight, because he didn't want to give the belt up.
Moving on to Callum Smith. We've not heard any official confirmation of that 9th of September. Is that likely still to go ahead?
That's
on
the
that
date given from Tom Brown Promotions to the WBC for the date. So that's the date we're working on. There hasn't been an official announcement from them yet. That's why we haven't officially
But it'll be in LA?
That's the date that's been given. That can change the venue.
Can the date change as well?
I mean, we would probably object, but you know, if they went to the WBC and said it was the 3rd or the 16th, it's not going to be the 16th because Canelo Golovkin. But I don't think, you know, we'd struggle to object to it. But Yeah, that's the fight. I mean, I tried to make DeGALE against Smith, and I couldn't get it over the line. Callum felt like he'd been down a WBC route for a long time. That was the fight he was mandated for. That was the fight he was going to take. So off to America he goes and try and become WBC world champion. And being a mix now with Groves winning a world title, Britain could have 3 of the 4 super middleweight belts.
Or 4 of the 5, or 5 of the 6.
What? Sorry, I don't get that.
Paul Smith.
Yeah.
Chris Eubank.
Yeah. Well, as far as I'm concerned, there are 4 primary belts.
I'm just saying to you, I
Yeah.
know there's 4,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying,
I know what you
if
mean.
you look
yeah.
on a
But
wider...
also you got Jamie Cox is mandated to fight Rocky Fielding.
Yeah.
So it's a great division. You got Paul Smith, Zoiga. You got Eubank against Arthur Abraham. So, I think it's a great division at the moment. Groves had an operation on his jaw, broken jaw, which I think is going to take a little bit more time than he thinks it's going to take. But he's in a great position now. Hopefully Callum can win the world title. DeGale.
What's happening with DeGale then?
I think you see him box in September. We were looking to fight on July the 1st against Callum Smith, but like I said, couldn't get that over the line. So looks like September for him. He's supposed to fight the winner of KUGAN and Andre Durrell, which is Andre Durrell. But KUGAN has appealed, and I think they'll make the rematch for that. So he's going to have a bit of time.
When will your first show be in September then?
Probably the 3rd.
The 3rd?
Mm.
Okay.
We're going to be at the O2 on the 3rd.
Okay.
I mean, when you look at the new season, you look at the venues and where we can go, and the fights we're looking to make. You've got Campbell and Ares, which will either happen in September or December. So that's a fight we're looking to make. You've got Cox against Fielding, which will happen in probably September. You've got Yafai world title defence. You've got Joshua-KLITSCHKO. You've got Bellew against Parker, Wilder or Hay. You've got Dillian White, I want to make a world title fight for in the new season. You've got Scott Quigg coming back in probably October. You've got Anthony Crolla also coming back. You've got Ricky Burns coming back. Maybe they'll be in the same kind of mix together. There's so many fights to make in the new season, and many that I've missed out there in case I get told off. And then you've also got to develop all the Olympic boys as well. So really, really busy. But the aim really is to try and make Saturday fight nights almost like a week pay-per-view card. Does that make sense? So one where it's kind of like borderline. But I think moving forward, our pay-per-view offerings for the new season are Bellew against Hay, perhaps, Joshua-KLITSCHKO, DeGale Groves. That's really our UK offerings. And then you throw in...
For this year?
Yeah. And then you throw in Canelo, GGG, or McGregor against Mayweather. So, but you're going to get a saturation. Like, I would hate to be going July 15th with Eubank Abraham. I mean, 1, because it's not a pay-per-view fight, but 2, you're coming off the back of Joshua-KLITSCHKO, Hay Bellew and Brooke Spence. So...
When will you get official word about the rematch then?
For Joshua-KLITSCHKO? As far as I'm concerned, it's happening. So, until we're told differently, I mean...
November?
Yeah, November, December. I mean, we've already had offers from 3 different countries, and obviously the option to do it in Cardiff as well. So
have you got a date in Cardiff then?
That wouldn't be till first week of December. So we're in a position where we're looking at all the dates, the money, the offers with Bernd Bonti. He's seeing Vladimir this week, and I think he's going to go for it. I do. If it's not him, it's Pulev, 100%.
So could you know by Wednesday?
Why Wednesday?
I heard someone say something about Wednesday.
I think that's when Bernd's seeing Vladimir. Yeah.
Yeah, Bernd told me that actually.
Did he? Yeah. What was you WhatsApping him last night? Or bit of FaceTime?
I live on MySpace.
Did you?
Do
you remember MySpace?
Yeah. Yeah. Facebook come and grabbed it by its bollocks. What else? Update me. What else was you doing in America? Jack Cleverly.
Yeah, Jack Cleverly. I was in America for one, AJ's US TV deal.
Yeah.
2, we were opening an office in New York. 3, Ndongo against Crawford, which looks like August the 12th or the 19th. I think the 19th. First 4-belt unification fight, undisputed fight for 16 years. I think I've already told you that.
Yeah.
Jack against Cleverly is the fight that Jack and Cleverly want. So I'm just waiting for them to close. I'm pretty sure Floyd wants it on the McGregor card. So they're just tying that fight up, and then you'll see that fight get made. But we need to get... It's been a bit frustrating for Nathan because we were supposed to fight Bramer. They pulled out of the rematch. But he's fine to wait for the Jack fight because that's the fight he wants more than all the others.
Anything else out there?
Yeah, in New York. I ate a lot.
Where
Didn't
did you
have a shave.
Where did you eat?
All over the place. I had a good coffee with Matt Macklin, talking business yesterday. No, Saturday. I met with top ranked guys, Carl Moretti, Stephen Espinoza, Peter Nelson, looked at some offices, a couple of venues.
Who's going to work at your offices?
We're gonna bring somebody in.
What, like the American Eddie Hearn?
Oh, the American Frank Smith.
All right, anything else? Obviously, we'll catch up about Belfast on Thursday.
Yeah, of course. Belfast presser on Thursday. Looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it because I really, really want to win this fight. Really want to win it.
Sound like you've got ulterior motives.
No, for a number of reasons. Do you want me to tell the reasons why I want to win this fight?
Go.
Number 1, because I know what it will mean to Ryan Burnett, and I really think he's a great fighter.
Yeah.
Number 2, and this is in order. Number 2, Adam Booth and Ryan Burnett are really, really close. You know that.
Yeah.
And you know what this fight will mean to Adam Booth. In fact, I think this will mean more to Adam Booth than any of the Hay wins and any of the Groves wins. Number 3 is to take a Belfast Northern Irish fighter and see him win over there on our return to Belfast, Northern Ireland, will make me really, really chuffed. And I feel like I've got the energy about this fight, like I'm going to be going mental during the fight, mental. And it's going to be one of those. Oh, and 4, because I'd love to stick one on the Sanagars. I like the Sanagars, but we always... when
Friendly competition.
No, when Haskins beat Hall, I was gutted. And it was a real close fight, so I'd like to get one up on him, because I just keep giving them paydays for Lee Haskins. But he deserves it. I like Lee Haskins as well. But I'm really going to be... This is going to be one of them where they're going mental, I'm going mental. And we've done good tickets. We have a decent crowd in there on Saturday.
Just quickly, because we're actually running out of card. I've done a lot of interviews today.
I bet you have. Good. Well done.
McCarthy and Perez,
Yeah.
what happened? Just quickly.
Okay, very simple. Really weird situation. So Mick Conlon said, get Tommy McCarthy on the bill on Twitter. So I said, look, Mike Perez is trying to get on the card. He's now a cruiserweight. I've seen the shape of Mike Perez, by the way. So I said, no problem. He can fight Mike Perez. So Tommy McCarthy come back and said, no problem. Pat McGee come back and said, we're up for the fight. This is what we want. Blah, 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 blah. I come back and said, deal done. All agreed. Went to Perez's team, who were easy as pie. All agreed. Announced the fight. Then, like last week, he come back to me, Pat McGee, McCarthy's manager. I'm concerned about Perez. What are you concerned about? Well, I don't think he has a license. I don't think he has a visa. I don't think he's going to make the weight. A few things. So I went back and said, okay, I've spoken to him. He's cleared to box with the Irish boys. He's 204 pounds, and he's got a visa, and he's fighting. Like he's 100% fighting. I can't put Tommy in a fight like this where there's so much uncertainty. There isn't uncertainty. He's fighting on the card. No, sorry. If you want Tommy on the card, we're happy to take another fight, but I can't, as his manager, put him in with someone who might not show up. It's like, he's showing up. No, sorry. So then I've gone back to Mike Perez is fighting. Mike Perez has been training for a month. Mike Perez is 204 pounds, ready to fight. So then, you know, he came back and said, no, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people in Belfast that Tommy McCarthy's not fighting. I said, this was last night. I said, Pat, he can fight. He can fight Mike Perez, who we've already agreed to fight for. No, if you want him in another fight, I'm happy, but not Mike Perez. Because I said, yeah, but he's fighting. So they just decided they don't want to fight Mike Perez, basically. And I don't even think it's Tommy McCarthy, because he put out what annoys me the most is he put out a message saying, oh, someone give me a break. It's like, mate, your break's there. You televised the title fight with Mike Perez. It's all done. And it's going to be really embarrassing for Tommy and Pat McGee when Mike Perez fights on Saturday night and Tommy McCarthy doesn't. Because where does their argument sit about he won't turn up, he's not on weight? He is. So I just think they decided they didn't want to fight. But again, I don't believe Tommy McCarthy. I think fighters are fighters, you know. But I think when it come down to it, it sounded like a great idea at the outset. Yeah, we'll fight him. And then over time sort of thought, maybe not.
Right, we have 20 seconds. Eddie Ann, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV.
Cheers, old boy.
Your closing words.
Looking forward to a great show in Belfast. Looking forward to Next Gen in Newcastle. Looking forward to July the 1st, O2, Frank Buglioni, all our top young boys. Debut of BUATSI, our best light heavyweights in the world. You'll see him over and out. Then we're going on holiday.